Hello, future freedivers, and thank you for joining us on this episode of the Total Beginner Freedive podcast, brought to you by Octopus Freediving, one of the highest quality freediving brands in the world. This is episode 15, where we'll go over some questions and comments from Reddit.
20 years stuck in the office, and now he's traveling the world. Just one breath and diving deep, he's healthier and happier than ever. Freedive nomad, he's found what he wants to do. A freediving podcast for total beginners like you. Freedive nomad, the peace into the deep blue. Make the dream come true, you can do this too.
Are you on Reddit? I find Reddit a bit of a relief from some of the bigger social media platforms because there is a level of anonymity and people seem to be more honest and less self-promoting. Less trolling, I guess. That's just my experience with it in any case. With that, I believe people feel freer to ask whatever questions they want versus, say, the Freedive Facebook group. We're talking about the Freedive subreddit. And with that, I often see questions on there which perfectly illustrates why there needs to be more freedive education in the world. And shameless plug, would benefit from listening to this very podcast. So for this episode, I wanted to go over two things I've seen on Reddit. One is a thread about asking if freedive courses are worth taking. And the other is something I see quite often asked about breath holding practice before taking a freedive course. The title of this thread is called, "Is it worth taking a freediving course?" This question comes from OUJAY849. It goes, "I've seen videos on YouTube of people doing it, and all they do is go down like 10 seconds, swimming at the bottom like 20 seconds, and then coming back up for 10 seconds. Expending $300 for learning to do that seems like too much. I guess it's better to stick with snorkeling. Obviously, there's people who stay more, but I guess the average person is only able to do that after taking the course. Thanks in advance for your comments." And if you haven't figured out, the whole premise of me putting out this podcast is that taking a freedive course is the safest and most enjoyable way of learning to freedive. But instead of me harping on about it, and why you should or need to take a freedive course, I thought I'd read out some of the responses here from people who have already taken a course. And this first comment is from aggravating_COD_4980. "It's absolutely worth it. You don't know what you don't know." And in response to that, Ripple Rider said, "And what you don't know may kill you. It is 1000% worth it, and there's no substitute for it." Can't agree more, Ripple Rider. From Hot Pockets, "What monetary value would you place on your life then? $300 is pretty damn cheap for a lifetime education on how not to kill yourself in an environment with an exponential amount of unseen risk." Echoing the same sentiment from What_Dinosaur, "Are you asking if $300 is a reasonable price to be able to, for the rest of your life, to enter the sea and enjoy being inside rather than watching from the surface? Nope. I think it's a steal. They should charge at least $600. Getting into more detail from SN34KYCHO, "I can't recommend it enough. I taught myself how to dive and was spearing for a couple of years, but I exponentially improved after my course/certification. What you learn and how much you improve all depends on your instructor and where you train. I was fortunate to be traveling in Tulum and got to dive in the cenotes. My instructor was probably one of the best teachers I've ever had in any form of education. After my first day of class, I doubled my static underwater breath hold from 1.5 minutes to 3 minutes and 17 seconds. Then during training, minute-long or 1.5-minute-long dives were super easy while practicing various dive techniques. So even after he taught himself or herself, he still found the course very, very useful. Now note his static breath hold time increased from 1.5 minutes to over 3 minutes, and we'll talk about that in the next section. And about the safety aspect, ITADEUFA said, I was an average person, and I can confirm I was only able to do that, i.e., going down like 10 seconds, swimming at the bottom like 20 seconds, and then coming back up for 10 seconds after taking the course. Besides finally getting comfortable in the water, the best part of the course for me was learning and practicing how to protect someone having a loss of motor control, protect someone who has blacked out at the surface, and someone who blacks out within 5 meters of the surface. Also learning how to move my legs more efficiently since I had zero practice with snorkeling, as well as how to properly do a duck dive. Turns out, for me, the initial part of the dive where you dive at the surface was really hard. And more on the safety aspect of it from a professional. This is from JMAGE27. Absolutely worth it. I started off with a scuba background and was admittedly a YouTube quote-unquote educated freediver for a while. I worked as a rescue swimmer and an EMT on a rescue team, so I thought I was set. Fast forward to the present day, and I'm a certified intermediate freediver. I'm extremely glad I received a formal education. The main points of improvement for me were technique and safety. It's extremely helpful in overall development to receive instructions and corrections from someone who is a professional instructor and can interact with you more than watching a video. So in summary, what is your life worth? Your skill level increases dramatically during course, and the safety aspect, even from an EMT and rescue swimmer, was invaluable. So I hope you found it useful hearing about taking a freedive course from people who've actually taken one rather than just me. Now on to a question I see a lot on the freediving subreddit, and it's about extending your breath hold. It seems a lot of people want to learn how to extend their breath holds before they take a beginner freediving course. They've read a line or seen a YouTube video about doing CO2 tables or other training methods for extending your static breath holds or holding your breath while staying completely still. I've seen this way more than one occasion. I've even seen someone saying they wanted to achieve a 4-minute breath hold before taking a freedive course, which is kind of ridiculous because, one, the requirement for a beginner freedive course is generally 1.5 to 2 minutes long. Two, for my instructor certification, it was a 4-minute breath hold. And why would you want to attain an instructor level for a beginner course? And three, you take a freedive course to learn how to hold your breath. Remember in the previous section, we had someone increase their breath hold time from 1.5 minutes to over 3 minutes simply by taking a freedive course or a beginner freedive course. And that wasn't from training. That was simply from technique learned in a beginner freedive course. Nearly every one of my students would tell me, I can only hold my breath for 30 seconds. And I have yet to have one of my students not pass their static breath hold requirement, which is for Molchanov's 1.5 minutes. So just from technique alone, I've tripled my students' static breath hold time. Now here's the problem with training without being educated on how to do it. An important component of teaching someone how to hold their breath for longer is teaching them how to relax. A first level course is about coaxing your natural ability to freedive and requires no training at all as long as you have an average level of fitness. What these beginners who don't have proper training is they tend to push their breath holds too much and too hard. And if you're suffering through your practice breath holds, you are teaching your body, mind, and nervous system that holding your breath absolutely sucks, making it tougher for you to relax in future breath holds. You don't really need to do any training before a beginner freedive course, but if you really want to, you can start working on relaxing. Meditate or listen to meditation apps or guided body scans you can find on YouTube and I think even on Spotify. And you can work on extending your inhale and exhale. For example, you can inhale on a count of 10 and exhale on a count of 10. If that's uncomfortable, then decrease the count. As you get comfortable with a certain count, you can increase in increments of a few seconds, but only if that count gets super comfortable. Again, you don't want to suffer through this. So do this inhale and exhale practice for about 5 to 10 minutes, a few times a week. If that's not enough, and you're just curious about researching on how to extend your breath hold time, then I recommend this ebook by my fellow freedive instructor, Anthony of VD Freediving, who's also on the island of Shallow Chill. His book is called Breath Hold, 4 Weeks Dry Static Training Plans. And you'll find that at freedivepodcast.com/static, STATIC. And that's it. I hope you learned a lot from this episode about needing to take a freedive course, and that the biggest needle mover in freediving is your ability to attain higher levels of relaxation. And one of the ways of doing that is through regular meditation practice. I've been trying to get into meditation for years to help me relax from my stressful life and job before I started freediving. I even paid $1,000 to learn a certain form of meditation, which I found to be too hard to keep as a habit. I've tried many apps, but none of them did it for me until I found Sync Tuition, which is the most popular meditation app in Europe. Once I started using it, it helped my sleep dramatically in just a few days. I use it to relax before my breath hold training or between training sessions to recover. And I've noticed a big difference. Go to freedivepodcast.com/meditate for your free trial. And that's it. Dive safe and never dive alone.
20 years stuck in the office, and now he's traveling the world. Just one breath and diving deep. He's healthier and happier than ever. Freedive nomad, he's found what he wants to do. A freediving podcast for total beginners like you. Freedive nomad, the peace into the deep blue. Make the dream come true. You can do this too.